Before the 1880s, time in America was a chaotic, localized mess. If you lived in New York, your noon was whenever the sun was directly overhead. If you traveled to Philadelphia, you'd have to set your watch back 5 minutes. There were over 300 different local times across the United States. While this worked for a farmer in a horse and buggy, it was a nightmare for the invention that was currently sewing the continent together, the steam engine. By the mid-19th century, the Transcontinental Railroad had transformed America from a collection of isolated towns into a connected web of commerce. However, the speed of the locomotive created a deadly problem. A train leaving Chicago might be operating on Chicago time, but the station it was heading toward in Iowa was operating on its own local sundial time. Conductors were constantly doing complex mental math to avoid collisions, yet time discrepancy wrecks were becoming tragically common. Enter William F. Allen, the head of the Railway Guide. He realized that for the steam engine to be safe and efficient, the sun could no longer dictate the clock. The railroad had to. On November 18, 1883, a day known as the Day of Two Noons, the railroad companies forced a massive change. They divided the nation into 4 distinct zones: Eastern, Central, Mountain, and Pacific. At high noon in each zone, the telegraph lines pulsed with a signal. In cities across the country, people watched as clocks were suddenly hacked back or pushed forward by minutes to align with the railroad time. There was immediate pushback. Many Americans were outraged, arguing that the railroads were trying to change the laws of God and nature. Some mayors even refused to change their town's clocks, calling the move an act of corporate tyranny. But the steam engine was too powerful to stop. The efficiency of the new system revolutionized everything from banking to the delivery of the morning newspaper. It wasn't until the Standard Time Act of 1918 that the U.S. government finally made these zones official law, but by then the railroads had already won. The Iron Horse hadn't just conquered the landscape, it had conquered time itself, proving that in a modern industrial world, the schedule of the machine was more important than the position of the sun.